While going from Aricha towards Teota Zamindar's house, the beauty of the road beside the huge river was very charming. The place of Teota Zamindar's house seems to me a beautiful place. A pond is built next to it. Quiet village. There is a big river next to it. Some say the banks of the Jamuna River, some say the banks of the Padma River, and some say the banks of the Brahmaputra River. Next to it is a Swish village market. All this was superb environment. This Teota Zamindar house is an important place where the memory of the rebel poet Kazi Nazrul Islam and his beloved wife Pramila Devi is attached. Kazi Nazrul Islam was fascinated by the form of Pramila Devi in the house of Teota Zamindar of Shibaloy Upazila of Manikganj. The witness of the loving memory of Kazi Nazrul Islam and Pramila Devi, Teota Zamindar's house was next to Pramila Devi's father Vasant Sen's house. Pramila Devi's father's nephew Viren Sen had a good relationship with Kazi Nazrul Islam. That's why he had free access to their house for good relations. It is assumed that the house of Teota Zamindar is about 300 years old. The Teota Zamindar house is set up with a total of 738 acres of land. The main palace is surrounded by various other structures and a large pond. The main building of the palace is known as Laldighi Bhavan. There is also a Natmandir here. Also, there is Navaratna Math and several other math. There are 55 rooms in all the buildings. The Teota Zamindar family is the Zamindar who owns the largest portion of land in Manikganj district. Panchanan Chowdhury of the Deshgupta family is one of the 60 households of Teota in West Manikganj. Born 1740 years. Founder of this Zamindar family. The Shankaras, middle name of the family, were progressive, reform-free and unchallenged landlords. Members of this family have contributed significantly to public welfare. Teota Zamindari included Dhaka, Faridpur, Pabna, and Dinaja along with parts of Rangpur and Burdwan. In 1914, the property of this family in Dinaja alone was worth more than 11 lakh takas. This estate was managed by skilled and educated employees and paid more than 60,000 takas in taxes to the government revenue sector. In practice, the proprietors were quite generous to the estate employees and provided them with generous allowances in addition to subsistence and medical allowances. The head office or manager's office of the estate was at Teota. The entire estate was divided into circles by several kacharis, local offices, established with each circle. The Zamindari of Teota remained undivided for nearly 200 years. But by 1920 this Zamindari was divided into the Aitana, Teota Jaishankar estate, and several other smaller divisions. As the Zamindari system was confiscated under the East Bengal Zamindari Acquisition and Tenure Act 1950, this Zamindari came to an end with the acquisition by the government of all the Teota estates. Panchanan Chowdhury, the founder of the family, started his career in Dinaja. His success in the tobacco business and permanent settlement encouraged Panchanan Chowdhury, the founder of the family, to invest in land. As a result, he acquired all his former possessions in the Dinaja region. He later returned to his ancestral village Teota and established himself as the first Zamindar of Teota. Panchanan Chowdhury was a Vaishnava devotee and the first to sabayat his family guru, Sridhar. He lived to the age of 93 and established his Zamindari as one of the largest during his lifetime. Very little is known about Panchanan Chowdhury's only son, Kali Shankar. He died at the age 30, leaving two unborn sons, Jai Shankar and Tarini Shankar. Born in the 1800s to 1810s. However, both his sons were brought up in traditional aristocratic, in the Nawabi tradition of Bengal, family management. The younger son Tarini Shankar sent to Murshidabad for his studies. Tarini Shankar also died at the age of 30. At the time of his death, he left two sons, Shyama Shankar, later popularly known as Raja Shyama Shankar Roy Bahadur of Teota, and Pran Shankar. Jai Shankar was a prosperous Zamindar. He extended the inherited ancestral property. Along with the maintenance of the Atithashala established by his grandfather, he himself got involved in public service activities like digging ponds, road construction etc. in Teota. Later he left his two minor infant sons, Parvati Shankar and Hara Shankar, under the care of their mother and grandmother and decided to leave his family and all worldly activities and go to Puri, the best place for Vaishnavas to practice Vaishnava rites. He died there shortly after in 1866. Later his son built a Dharamshala in Gaya, Bihar, in memory of his father. Completed his initial arrangements for Builder Math at the site of his father's last rites in Puri. Many of the later descendants of Teota Zamindar families migrated to urban areas later to settle down. In the 1820s, Panchars, Dharmahata Street, present-day Maharshi Devendra Road, in the Pathoria area of Kolkata was the first new address for the family, but only the male members of the family lived in the city until the 1960s. The female members of the family remained in the village until the new picturesque and large house was built on 4-4 European Asylum Lane in the 1990s of the 19th century. Apart from this address, this family also had homesteads at other places. In Benares, the Teota Rajbari, originally 2 houses, has immortalized in Bibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay's novel and Satyajit Ray's film Upazila. Shama Shankar Roy, the eldest of the 4 brothers of the Zamindar family, was a noted philanthropist, theistic philosopher and enterprising Zamindar, who took several initiatives for the development of agriculture. He attached the title Raja to his name in the 1870s. Roy Parvati Shankar was also a Kalpanashrayi Zamindar. Apart from other important works, he introduced the system of cooperative grain bank, Dharmgola, within his Zamindari domain. He was one of the other founders of the Indian Industrial Association. Hara Shankar Roy, a graduate of Presidency College and a law degree holder, was the unpaid magistrate of Teota estate. Many of the next generation went to universities in Britain to get basic degrees and training for practical occupations. Among them, Dr. Kumar Shankar Roy was the only one who made his debut as a professional later in life. Barristers in the 1930s and 40s, though not practicing barristery. He was actively involved in the electoral politics of the Janasbak K.S. Roy Congress and represented Bengal along with others in the Council of State in New Delhi. Politicians Kiran Shankar Roy and Kumud Shankar Roy, abbreviated as Dr. K.S. Roy, are the most prominent figures of the current generation of the Teota Zamindar family. One of the two is a Congress leader who raised the demand for Swaraj, and the other is a shining star in the world of medicine. The family was originally based in Teota, a sprawling area on the banks of the Jamuna. The oldest building adjacent to the large courtyard dates back to the first half of the 19th century. The most recent building was built at the beginning of the 20th century. Adjacent to the Rajbari, the majestic Navaratna, a sight to behold, was built for the family deity. It was used during the Dole festival. Established in the 80s of the 19th century, the high-entrance school known as Teota Academy was known as the only school in the Manikganj subdivision, now district, for a long time. Accommodation of the students of the school, a boarding house called Bari, was also inside the school for the accommodation of Calcutta students of Shankar's family during matriculation and other examinations. There was also a pathshala and a charitable dispensary run by the estate. In very few districts did the post of an unpaid magistrate and a separate bench exist, as in Teota. Since 1957, this sprawling estate currently stands in a neglected and abandoned state. Almost the entire portion, however, has passed into the hands of the occupiers. Architecturally and strategically, the grand edifice of the Teota Zamindars reflects a fine blend of Mughal and European architecture. How to go to Zamindar's house. The distance from Dhaka to Aricha is about 90 kilometers. It will take about 3 hours to go by bus. The rent will be around 100 taka. If you want to stay within Dhaka, you have to come to Gabtali bus terminal first. Several buses leave from Gabtali to Pachuria Dolotia or directly come to Aricha. Take the Aricha bus and get off at Aricha Ghat near Teota Zamindar house very easily. If boarding a bus from Dolotia to Pachuria, you have to get off at a place called Uthlai. You have to get off at Aricha Ghat by paying 20 taka or 30 taka CNG from Uthlai. From there, you have to go to Teota Zamindar's house by rickshaw or auto for 20 to 30 taka. That was a brief history of Teota Zamindar house. This information is taken from various reliable sources. Later, we will talk about the Zamindar house of any part of Bangladesh, a place with history or a beautiful place.